Welcome to Via the Grapevine, offering you the chance to learn more about wine, the masters behind them, and even which wines to collect. The exciting second vintage of a limited edition Stellenbosch wine, only made in years of exceptional harvests, has just been released. The Sense of Place Kastanjeberg 2020 is the flagship wooded single vineyard Chenin Blanc made by Stellenbosch Hills. Winemaker James Ochse joins me now. Did I get the surname right there, James? Ochse.
Just straight Oesh.
Oosh.
But yeah, I always want to say the whole industry knows in that sense it's a difficult one. No way.
Can we start with that? Where does the surname derive from? What's your heritage there for Oesh?
It's a combination between German and Holland, which it just mixed. Obviously from my dad's side. In German it's pronounced Ochse. But unfortunately, it's so far back that we don't have any language connections towards the surname, I want to say. So for me, I'm just Afrikaans, English, and a little bit of Xhosa for self-defense.
For self-defense. Oh, fantastic. Well, before we launch into the merits of this new release and discover more about you personally, let's just clarify who, what, and where Stellenbosch Hills Winery is exactly, please. Some may remember the Flottenberg Co-op, and that is now you, correct?
Yes.
Okay, an award-winning
So we established since 1945 already, the Flottenberg Co-op, and so we're located in Stellenbosch. I want to say in Flottenberg, just at the bottom between, I want to say if you call that triangle between Spier, Neerlingshof, and Van Rijn. So we're in that mix, and we became Stellenbosch Hills in 2003. We changed the name to be international, more appealing, and basically also to reflect the terroir that we now take in around Stellenbosch.
And as speaking to the terroir that you take in, I believe you have, is it 16 members of the co-op who contribute their grapes to you?
Yes, we have 16 producers, and so basically we have 5 pockets in Stellenbosch where they're all located. So we only work with Stellenbosch fruit, which is quite exciting. Obviously, being Stellenbosch is the mecca of wine historically, and yeah, some of the locations are quite fascinating. We've got Stellenbosch Kloof, obviously Flottenberg itself, Polkerdry, Vlaarberg, Lynedop. So quite a diverse setup and terroirs that we have in the portfolio.
And a portfolio of 4 ranges of wines. You obviously specialize in a wide variety of cultivars. Can you give us a little bit of insight into what those are?
Guy, our ranges, like you know, is the Sense of Place range, which is our limited edition, little small micro pockets in Stellenbosch that we take single varieties from. Normally it's 2,000 bottle production at the most. Then we've got our 1707 range, which was a tribute to basically the cultivation in Flottenberg, Stellenbosch, which started in 1707, which is 2 blends, which was our flagship. And then we've got our core range, our Stellenbosch Hills cultivar range, which basically is single cultivars. And then, of course, our entry-level fun, dance-loving Polkerdry range, which is your more fruit-driven wines. If you want to speak cultivars, we can go the whole day, from Claret Branch to Colombar to, I'm going to say, Sangiovese, to name it, we've got it.
That's absolutely sensational. I'm guessing that part of having that full range at your hands is probably what attracted you to work for Stellenbosch Hills. Is it that opportunity?
Definitely, Guy. Stellenbosch Hills was also the winery that gave me my first shot at being a winemaker. Previous to this, I was assistant at Distel, and yeah, so this was also a career step up for me back in 2016 plus minus.
And I believe that it was actually the wrong advice about an overseas working visa that ultimately led to you becoming an assistant red wine maker for Zonneblom before you arrived at Stellenbosch Hills. Tell us about that and what you gained from your international winemaking experience.
Well, Guy, just to cut back to that specific day, obviously I learned 1 or 2 new words on that specific day when the visa got denied. I'm not gonna extend on that. But yeah, no, so basically the company I used applied for the wrong type of working visa and gave me a student visa.
Oh,
And I was supposed to end up in Australia in Margaret River. And I want to say this happened around about the Friday morning. The confirmation came through, and I was supposed to fly that afternoon around about 3 o'clock. Yeah, quite devastating news in that sense, but luckily, yeah, ended up via that at Flagstone Winery, also award-winning winery for the harvest. Luckily, they saw probably the desperate in my eyes.
yeah.
Took me in, worked there, and yeah, ended up at Zonnebloem, and then ended up here.
And some people may know this, many probably not, but your uncle is renowned winemaker Kevin Arnold at Waterford Estate. Has he been an influence, a big influence on your career and wine philosophy at all?
Guy, yes, my Uncle Kev, he is obviously an icon in the industry. I don't want to say he's older than the industry itself. He's going to hit me. But no, definitely, he's been an influence, his calm and collected ways, his respect towards wine and vineyards and even people in general is definitely something to look up to. I always said that if I can fill half of his shoes, I know I did well.
Fantastic. What size shoes does he wear, out of interest? No, I'm kidding. Okay, so to the best part of Via the Grapevine for me, and that's the tasting. Today, we are tasting the 2020 Kastanjeberg, and it's a single vineyard Chenin Blanc. Have a look at that beautiful label. Tell us a little bit about what makes this Chenin so special to you.
Well, Guy, like most projects that end up, I don't want to say worldwide, or in that sense, it's something that wasn't planned. It was back in 2017, obviously with the major label, we actually forgot about a block Chenin. Now, we do run about, like I said, 8,000 tons of Stellenbosch grapes going through the system. And this specific block of Chenin, which is a beautiful site, 360 meters above sea level, decomposed granite soils, came in around about 24, 25 bulling on a hot Tuesday afternoon. And we looked at it and said, yes, luckily the guys brought it in, or we remembered about it, and just put it in the cellar, and we started fermenting it on staves. And at that point, obviously, we didn't even have the range, the label, the wine. It was just there as another component. And as I've mentioned beforehand, our 1707 range is also one of the wines is a white barrel blend. And when we emptied it, the barrels were empty, and we didn't have actually anything to fill it. That year's Chardonnay Viognier Semillon wasn't that great. So we just said, well, we're not going to waste our time putting something into barrel which shouldn't be there. And we had, well, what about the Chenin Blanc? Which obviously had a massive alcohol, fat texture. And we said, well, let's fill it just to keep it full, and then we'll see later on what we can do with it, or if we need to sell it, or what we can do. And obviously, 10 months down the line, this thing matured and became massive in barrel. Obviously, it was only 10 barrels big, and kind of evolved into something beautiful where we had said, we can't get rid of it, we can't blend it into something. Let's create a label, let's create a bottle. It's already a single vineyard and stuff. Obviously, at that time, we didn't label it as a single vineyard. We obviously did the paperwork since. And yeah, so it ended up like this. And now it's a sort of the grape, I want to say, vineyard selection that we have in the cellar. And just brings out each year amazing characters and fruit flavors. And I can go, oh, sorry, I'm babbling.
But not at all.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to hear, and it's wonderful to also hear how those older vines, those forgotten vines, they are the ones that are out there giving their best. And often, as you say, it's almost like the unseen pupil that just plods along quietly in the background, and he's not out here trying to get honors badges and whatever. And then at the end, he arrives, and everybody goes, "Wow, who's this? Where's he been?" So. Yeah, I'm absolutely a massive fan of wooded whites. And so I just want to kind of find out from you in terms of the percentage of wooding on this. What are we looking at?
So on the Kastanjeberg, because of the site is so specific, we really want to, I want to put it in words, respect the fruit, respect the terroir, and get the most out of it. So the wood percentage we actually went in it is around about, I want to say 20 to 30% new wood. The rest is all second fill to third fill barrels. Still obviously to help the pellet and micro-oxidation effect and to form the wine. But yeah, we always keep it on a lower percentage to respect the fruit.
Your 2017 version, so impressed Diners Club wine judges that it included you as finalist for the 2019 Diners Club Young Winemaker Award. Now the 2020 vintage offers renewed momentum for the lauded wine and Sense of Place range. I'm hearing this term more and more from winemakers, James, Sense of Place. Is it a new catchphrase? Is it a focused shift among the winemaking fraternity? Or is it just a renewed passion for our own wines?
I'm just going to have a sip of this wine and get back to that interesting question. Okay, well, good. No, I want to say, my honest opinion, it's definitely market driven. These days, you can't just make wines which will please yourself in that sense. You have to look at the market. You have to look what's happening outside, keep with the trends. Because at the end of the day, it's also a business as well as a massive passion. But passion doesn't pay the bills in that sense. So definitely, it's in a sense where even as winemakers, we are evolving to keep, making wines that can last for decades, but also making wines for today. So respecting the fruit, looking at sense of place, all those type of wording is definitely something new. And I want to say it gives a new feather in your cap for your portfolio of making wine, which is actually exciting for us as well.
Yeah, I suppose formerly it would have been known as terroir driven. Maybe that was what people were saying. And Sense of Place just has a lot more romanticism to it and probably better hints at being, completely besotted with your country, or I want to say patriotic, but in a way it does hint at that. I absolutely love the nose on this Chenin. You've got so many different aromas coming through. I mean, I'm picking up hints of honey initially, and then when you revisit it, there's beautiful stone fruit there. There's peach coming through, but then there's also a hint of vanilla, which I presume might be from that new oak.
Yeah, more barrel orientated.
But it just keeps pulling you in for more. And my nose is very much about what leads me into a wine, which is why I was nosing it for so long before even taking a sip. So I better take another sip.
I'll join you on that.
And then you've got that beautiful, smooth mouthfeel, very soft, balanced acidity as well. It's not overwhelming for such a young wine. I mean, 2020, you would expect it to be a little bit more acidity, maybe too much, but it's not. It's perfectly balanced. You've done very well here in terms of the structure. And I'm also getting a couple of those flavors that I smelled coming through on the palate, which is absolutely lovely. What are the other wines that are available in this Sense of Place range?
Other wines which are available, guys, is we have one Cape blend, which is called the Stellenbosch Hills. The first vintage of that was 2015. We produced the second vintage now, 2017 as well. I would say probably the next, if we're looking at quality in grape, would also be probably a 2020. But for now, we just put the 17 in bottle. It hasn't been labeled yet. Still doing bottle maturation, and we'll probably release it around about next year, maybe end of the year, seeing how it goes. The other one is a straight Chardonnay-based MCC, 2018 called the Anna Christina, which is also a first for the cellar itself. Straight 15 months in bottle on the lees, and really something unique as well.
Sure, looking forward to some of that MCC. Wow. What would you pair this with, just out of interest, James, in your personal opinion?
Guy, like you described the wine so beautiful. Thank you for that. You hit all the, I want to say, nails on the head. Yes, you can. You can literally sit with this wine the whole day and explore, and always get something new. Try decanting it as well, a whole new different flavor bomb or release then. But getting back to the food, it's definitely a food wine. I would even be brave enough to say that you can pair it with steak if you want to. Obviously, I'm Afrikaans by heritage, so I'll put anything with meat. But for signature dishes with this wine would definitely be your more creamy-based dishes, pastas, that type of thing. And then as well, even pork, crispy pork belly, those type of things, definitely will work with the flavor components of the wine.
Definitely. I like that. I know this might be a bit of a nasty question, but we don't have the time for you to completely run through each of the other 3 ranges in the Stellenbosch Hills portfolio. So to entice viewers to your brand, let's give them a winemaker's choice, if you will, your favorite or best wine from each of your 4 ranges, please.
Oh, God, yeah, that is a difficult question. Obviously, my favorite is influenced by my wife. Obviously, I can't just take anything home. I'm just kidding.
My wife's influenced by me. I tell her this is a phenomenal wine, and she goes, "But surely we shouldn't be having white wine with red meat." And I go, "No, this is fantastic. You got to try it." So,
okay, just to give you a short, brisk description of our portfolio, and my choices would be definitely in the Sense of Place range. I especially love the MCC because it was something new to me itself as well. It's something unique. Also a single vineyard. I would say then the range below in the 1707 would be our white reserve, which is, like I said, a Chardonnay Viognier Semillon blend. And even the reason why I'm saying is because I enjoy drinking wines which is complex, and in making them as well. And there's some concrete egg components in the blend and all those type of things. It just brings totally new flavors. Our core range, I would say, is the Merlot. Funny enough, Merlot 2018. Back in 2018, that also won the SA National Champion. So it's a very also block-specific batch, which is quite nice. And then in the Porker Dry range, I actually enjoy the Rosé. Funny enough, it's also a lovely drinking wine. It's a Shiraz-based Rosé, which is quite nice.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, there you have it. That's the winemaker's choice. If you were to pick just one bottle from each of the range, now you know which ones to target. Start there, and then you can explore. Wine tastings at Stellenbosch Hills are they still 30 Rand per person? That's not bad. And and then apparently all visitors can choose up to a maximum of 5 wines to sample. These days, of course, wine is matched with everything from cheese to chocolate. But first in South Africa is the Stellenbosch Hills Biltong Droëwors Adventure. Tell us more about that, James. Obviously influenced heavily by yourself.
No, they started that way before me. That was actually, I'm going to say, a baanbreker back in 2005. They started that specific pairing. They might kick me downstairs. I'm not sure. I think it goes for around about 75, 85 Rand for the pairing for 6 wines, and then basically paired with different Biltongs and Droëwors from your Gemsbok to Springbok to like the whole range almost, which is definitely value for money and just gives you a nice snapshot of what the wines in the portfolio look like. I would say our target in our wine tasting room or center is basically to give the clients a hint of what's happening and what everything tastes like, and hopefully they'll enjoy it and then buy a bottle. That's why we keep it affordable and just for everyone to enjoy.
Or a bottle or 12. In that, I'm just interested to know, in that Biltong Droëwors Adventure, would you also pair some of your white wines with that, or is it strictly going to be red wines that would go?
No, there is actually a white wine in as well, which is our 1707 White Reserve. That is actually paired with the Springbok, if I think. Yeah. And I would actually, if for that specific tasting, I would definitely even throw the Kastanjeberg in. I'm really, I don't want to say it out loud, but mad enough to even throw 1 or 2 more white wines in it. You can never go wrong, just to even experiment on your own. Something works for me, something works for you. There's never a wrong or right when it comes to pairings.
I'm so glad you said that, because I think that's exactly it. We've been stuck for so long in being told what to do and how to do it. And this pandemic has changed things so drastically for everyone. People are working from home now. They're working from their yacht, if they're lucky enough to have one of those. So why do we have to stick to the old rules of only red wine and red meat? So yeah, I agree. And this Kastanjeberg just keeps drawing me back for more. I know you've probably got a busy day ahead of you, so let me not hold you for too much longer. I just want to do some quick fire questions to get to know you even more. And you can just fire off the first answer that comes to mind, James. Your favorite variety to drink?
Cab Sav, Stellenbosch Cab Sav.
Okay, brilliant. There it is. And usually winemakers say to me, I need a red and a white. So I was about to say you can choose a white as well if you need, but he has it. Cab Sav is number 1. Lamb shank or Weskus fish braai?
Easy. Lamb shank all the way.
Of course, to go with a Cab Sav. I mean, look, we're not saying you can't have a Weskus fish braai with Cab Sav.
Yeah, we're not saying it. You can try it, definitely.
Mask or buff for you? What do you prefer?
I would say mask in that sense.
Yeah. I find the buff makes the neck too hot, and then it's sweaty.
Exactly. It always ends up like a scarf.
Yeah. Most, and this won't be a one-word answer, most memorable wine tasting experience that you've ever had?
I would say that would probably take me back to 2013, when I was still working for Flagstone. We had a tasting in Cape Town, which was a combination between a lot of secret wines and Flagstone wines, and paired with Peter Goff's food pairings. And one, I'll never forget that, because one of the wines that they revealed, and we all tasted, you could see it was an old wine, yellow by color, and tasted it. And yes, it was quite good structured and fruit, but it's old, and it had this undertone of VA, which is obviously a negative towards the wine. But besides that, looking past it, it still had very nice structure and character. And we all said, that's nice, but obviously not great via the negative component. And when they revealed the wine, it was a 1806 Portuguese wine, which they found underneath a shipwreck. There's only like 3-4 in the world. And all of a sudden, that little bit of VA turned into the Moerselike VA.
Oh, that is incredible. 1806. So you have tasted something from under the sea, from way back, eh? Jeez, that is fascinating. Wow. I have to share with you on Flagstone. I had one of my most memorable tasting experiences there as well, where they introduced us to all of their Australian counterparts. And for me, as a young novice, it's always intriguing to taste wines from around the world, and that was just mind-blowing for me. But anyway, James, secret talent, which won't be secret after you tell me what it is.
Well, I'll tell the neat version of it.
The neat version. Okay.
I would say secret talent is definitely something that originated when we were back in uni or university. Is that, and I think almost, I don't want to say that led to my wine career in that sense, but I can take down a 1.5 rosé quite quickly. I'm not going to say what time we're looking at, but yeah, that's quite funny enough. Obviously, I haven't done it in years, but it used to be a New Year's trick. Once a year, I would take on the record and either succeed or obviously be flattened to the ground.
Wow. So is it only the rosé that you can do that with, or can you do it with beer as well?
No, funny enough, can't do beer. I don't know if it's the bubbles or something that hits me, but yeah, rosé obviously needs to have a little bit of a sweet undertone because we're back in university that time.
And is it? I know I'm getting technical here, but is it out the bottle or out of a flask or a glass? How do you take down 1.5 liters of wine like that?
Straight bottle, and obviously with the technique, you kind of swirl the bottle so it creates a vortex, so it just goes out quicker.
Hey, yo, that is some serious talent. Wow, we've learned something today. Thank you, James. Excellent. So now we know. If you're putting together a wine event and you're looking for some valuable entertainment and you're tired of getting a comedian or a poet involved, just phone James because he can entertain your audience with a very incredible talent. Wow. Thank you, James. If you fancy your luck, then answer the easy question here on the Via the Grapevine page. You could win 3 bottles of this Kastanjeberg Chenin, which is absolutely superb. 3 bottles of that, plus a voucher for 4 people to do the cheese and wine pairing, and that's valued at over 1,000 Rand. James Ush, thank you for your time and your energy today. So much appreciated.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Stay safe, keep warm, and thank you very much for the time.